QuickBooks Online 2025 Sales by Customer Graphs. Get ready and some coffee because we're learning how to save time with QuickBooks Online 2025. Here we are online in our browser searching for that QuickBooks Online test drive, the free sample company file available to everybody. Looking for the result that has intuit.com in the URL because Intuit is the owner of QuickBooks. We want to be choosing the United States version of the software for our example purposes, and then check that box saying that we're not a robot. I am not a robot. How many times I've got to tell you? All right, we're in the sample company file, Craig's Design and Landscaping Services, opening the major financial statement reports like we do every time. Reports on the left-hand side in the Standards tab, in the Favorites. Right-click in the balance sheet to open a link in a new tab. The same with the P&L, the profit and loss, to open a link in a new tab. Tabbing to the middle, closing the hamburger, changing the range as we do every time. 010124 tab, 123125 tab. Selecting the drop-down to see it in years, and then we will run it so that it refreshes it, so that we see the 2024 and 25 are now on the side by side. Tabbing to the right side, closing the hamburger again, repeating the process another time, another round, another go. 010124 tab, 123125 tab. Dropping down for years, run it to refresh it once again. These are the two financial statement reports. We're now looking at other reports and possibly resources, this time more specifically looking at graphs, noting that we can typically make a graph out of anything that has kind of like a subledger, anything where we have a list of items and then a total, for example. We can imagine that can be converted into a pie chart. So on the income statement, we might want to break out the income line items, all income possibly by customer, or possibly all income by what we sell, goods and services. We could break out the expenses by vendor, for example, or by category. We could go to the balance sheet, which is what we did before, and break out the subledger for accounts receivable by customer into a pie chart. Similarly, accounts payable, we can break out to accounts payable by vendor pie chart. So now we're going to be on the income statement. Now you could just think of like the income statement in terms of the income items and say these are the things that we're selling in terms of income accounts, and possibly break those out by and give a pie chart for the items that you're selling or the accounts. But most people on the income statement will not have as many income accounts, because they might only have one or two income accounts because they specialize in generating revenue and they pay for many things. Therefore, the expenses are typically going to be a lot longer. So it would make more sense then if we were to go to the expense side of things, for example, and then possibly collapse all of the sub-accounts maybe so that we have the normal account categories, and then try to use that as something that we can construct, say, a pie chart from, for example. But the other thing we can do, of course, is on the income side, think of all income as though it's one line item, and then break it out not by account category, but by who we sold to, which would be the customer, or by what we sold, which would be the items. So this time we'll do it by customer, and maybe next time we'll do it by item. Now, quick reminder that you can only do this if we have the availability of the subledger. So if you're in a basic kind of business where you just do gig work or something like that, then you might not have that added detail, because you're going to get your money possibly from, say, like if you're on YouTube or something, you get paid by Google, then you might just get money that hits the bank account. You deposit it with the bank feeds with basically a deposit form, in which case you might not construct a subledger from the deposit form, because QuickBooks doesn't really see that as a form that you're supposed to generate revenue from or record revenue with, which are typically the invoice and the sales receipt. So that might be a good thing to do in certain circumstances, but you're going to lose some flexibility with like the subledger reports from which we're creating our graphs. Similarly, if you're at a cash register and you're at like a restaurant or something, you might use a sales receipt. The sales receipt has the capacity to enter a customer into it. However, you're possibly not going to do that so much because people don't want to give you their personal information if they're just trying to buy a sandwich, for crying out loud, right? So you might just have one customer that's just generic customer for all of your sales in that case. But if you're invoicing clients, then it's likely that you have repeat clients that you have to collect on and therefore are more likely to be collecting the information. So that's possibly the type of business you are most likely to have the customer details subledger that you can run this report and related graphs on, such as like a bookkeeper, a law firm, a landscaper, right? And then we can basically, and those businesses, it's really important to say, these are the customers that are generating us the most money. If you're in a law firm, then it's quite likely that you have, 20% of the clients making you like 80% of the money, right? Whereas if you're selling stuff at a sandwich shop, that's kind of a hard, that might not be the same. It might be still the case, but you might not have that information. Any case, that's the idea. So let's go to the subledger reports. Let's go to the first tab over here. I'm going to close up the hamburger. We're in the reports, going to the section where we have sales and customers. And then the types of reports, we have income by customer summary, and then we've got sales by customer summary. These two sound similar, but you will recall from a prior presentation, they're slightly different because one of them is going to give us information if there's an expense related to it, which I think is the income one, and the sales one's just going to give us the revenue side, which is what we want. Let's open them both up just so we can check them out. Right click and open in a new tab on both of these bad doggy reports. So we're going to close this up. Why you say bad? I don't know. That's just a saying. I don't know. They're not really bad doggies. 010124 tab 123124, and then let's run it. So this is the income by customer, and so this one gives us the income and the expense column. So we don't really need the expense column. So let's go to the tab to the right and close up the hamburger and do the same thing. Let's go for 2024 010124 tab 123124 tab. Run it. And so there we have it. Now notice this one has some sub-customers, and that would happen if you have like a job cost system oftentimes, in which case you might want the more detail for those sub-customers, or maybe you don't. Possibly in our pie chart, maybe I just want to collapse this one, which you could do this way or hit the collapse button, and that gives us a nice clean report, right? This is like perfect for a pie chart or a bar chart. It's like, okay, I just have a column of numbers and a total. I could just export this to Excel and just make a pie chart. I need to sort it first. Remember to sort it. You messed that up one time. That's going to confuse people. But yeah, you have to sort it and then make a pie chart from it or a bar chart. So let's do that now. Let's just export it to Excel. Excel. This is where we do our charts, making it more fancy, impressing people. That's how we pull in the clients. They're like, dude, if this guy, no one else makes pie charts for us, man. This bookkeeper needs a raise. This guy's going above and beyond the call of duty. Normally when duty just calls me to go to the bathroom, but no, these guys made a pie chart. It's above and beyond the call of duty. All right, let's go. I'm going to pull that into our reports over here where we've been putting all of our reports, imagining we're going to give this information to our client, and we want to put it all in Excel and then generate everything on one Excel report, making a nice big fancy report. So if you don't have this, that's okay. You could still practice without this, but I'm just going to keep with that process. So to pull it over there, I'm going to right click on the tab and move or copy. So I'm going to put it into the workbook, which is reports here, copy it over and okay. So there it is. And then it's always on the left. So I'm going to grab it and pull it to the right, pull it to the right. So there we have it. All right. So we're just going to clean this thing up. All I really want is this information over here and the total. So everything else I can just go on this row. Just gonna delete all this, no longer needed. Right click and delete. All the stuff on the bottom, not really necessary. I'm gonna get rid of the total too this time. I'll get rid of all this and then delete it. Delete. And then I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. I'm gonna pull my toolbar out here. Where's my toolbar? Always show the ribbon. Okay. So then I like to format it all the same. So here's my formatting. I'm gonna grab this cell for my baseline formatting, Home tab, Format Painter, and just paintbrush the entire workbook, and then do my own formatting, right-clicking to format the cells. And then I like to make it all currency, negative numbers bracketed and red, no dollar sign. Let's remove the decimals to start out with, and then okay. And so that is good. And then maybe I'll make it bold as well, Home tab, font group, and bold. Now I'm gonna add a row above, which is gonna be my filtering row. So I'm gonna select the whole thing, or select this one row, right click and insert to put a row above it. I know I'm doing this fast because it's not really an Excel course. I'm just trying to give you a quick idea how you can generate these. But this is gonna be the name, or these are gonna be, let's say, customers, and this is gonna be sales amount per customer. And so that's gonna be my headers. And so now, if I select this information, I can filter it so that I can sort it from highest to lowest. So I'm gonna go to the filter button in data, and let's just use this filter button, filter. And then that gives me my little filter handles. And I wanna filter it from Z to A. That's gonna make the highest to the lowest. So there we have it. So now I have the information. I could use it. Let me just double check that the total's in balance. I'm gonna put it down here so it's not like in the column of numbers. So it's gonna be 3309. That still ties out to this 3309. By the way, that's not exactly the amount on the income statement over here, because here's the income statement, which comes out to 3284. Why? Because there's sometimes we can post something to an income account that doesn't tie out exactly, or that doesn't include a customer, which is gonna throw it off. So if you're making a chart, you could adjust it, right? I could adjust it. Maybe I'll show you what I mean, just so you make sure that you tie into this number properly, so everything kind of looks right. But let me show you. So we're gonna go back on over here. That's not the right one. Get out of here. All right. So then if I could make this into a pie chart. I could just select these and go, all right, insert, and then charts, pie chart, standard pie chart, boom. But again, I have a lot of categories down here. Maybe I only want like the top 7 or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these ones, they don't make the cut. You haven't made the cut. You don't got the skills. You need to give us more money if you want to make our pie chart. So that comes out to 386. So I'm going to say this is going to be 386 and just put that in other. They're just in the other category. We don't care about them so much. This one at the top, we treat John Melton, whoever that is, we treat him well. He's the man. He's our customer. All right. So then I'm going to adjust this to move it back up here then. Don't be making fun of John Melton, okay? Don't be making fun of, he's the client. Stop making fun of the client, for God's sakes. What kind of business are we running here? What is this, Mickey Mouse's company? For crying out loud, that's not how you do things. It's not how you do things. Anyways, let's go ahead. If I go to the chart design and then we look at these, we can get a percent in there. This one has, let's do this one. So then we get the percent. And then if we want to make it more exact, I could say, well, really, the income statement says it should be 3284. So let's just, what's the difference? 3284. So we need to adjust this by like 25 bucks. Let's just put that 25 here. So we're going to say this equals this minus the 25. That's a circle reference. You can't do that. Let's just put in 25. So there it happens. So now it ties in. So we just kind of, $25. We put it into the other so that it ties out. So now it ties out to what's on the income statement. So that's cool. So now maybe I want this in its own tab. So when I print it all out, it's all on one tab. So let's make another tab. I'm just going to add another tab out here and say this is going to be the sales by customer, and this is going to be sales by customer data. This is the data, but then we'll put the chart over here. So I'll copy this chart and I'll put it on this side. Boom. So there it is. And then I can look at the view down here, view it this way. So now there it is. So now maybe I want to make it a little wider, landscape in it. Home tab, landscape orientation. And now I can make it wider like so. And then I could put the title, instead of putting the title in the chart, I could put the title up here. Sales by customer or something, you know, and then put it up top and make it like a header on the whole page. Like maybe I center it across, format cells, alignment, center across the range, and then I'll make it black and white or something like that. I don't know. So there we have it. And then again, and then of course we could do a pie chart if we wanted to. I can say this is perfect pie chart or a perfect bar chart. Let's do an insert charts bar chart. Let's make it fancy, or we can even make it like one of these, but let's do it like this one this time. We'll do the other one next time. So boom, bar chart, copy. I'll put that on the side after the dotted line. Boom, same header maybe. Just copy this down. But now it's a bar chart. They'll know what that means. And then your clients are like, dude, no bookkeeper has ever made me a bar chart. It's going above and beyond the call of duty. Duty has only ever called me to go to the bathroom. And this guy has made charts. That's way past the call of duty for most people. All right. The call of duty. Oh my goodness. All right. So now if I wanted to print this thing, we can go to the File tab, Print, and then I want to print the entire workbook. And so there it is. But now I've got those data tabs that I want to hide again. So we'll go with our normal, these ugly data tabs. I don't want them in there when I print my report. So I'm going to go back and say this data tab, right click and hide. Don't delete it, just hide it. And then this one, I'm going to hide that one. Hide that. And then this one, the data tabs, just hide those. And then I'm going to have this fancy report with my graphs at the end. Printing with the cute PDF printer, the entire workbook. And then like at the end of this bad doggy, we've gone above and beyond the call of duty. And we made these charts. See, look at that. Fancy pantsy. We've got fancy pants. Why? Because we went beyond the call of duty. If you don't go beyond the call of duty, then your pants will be possibly dirty. Because you just did the call of duty. But no, we went beyond the call of duty, which leaves us having fancy pants. Let's unhide these now. I'm holding down Shift. Boom. So now we put them back in place. All right, so that's the general idea. I think that's basically it. We'll do one more next time. We can break out the sales by item next time. So we'll check that out. That'll be great.